good for New South Wales.
I'm a warehouse supervisor from Campbelltown.
I'm an environmental scientist in St Leonards.
I'm an engineer from Parks.
I'm a Sparky from Cessnock.
I'm a lab technician from the Shire.
I'm a process chemist from Helston Park.
I'm an emergency response officer in Orange.
I do quality assurance in Castle Hill.
I'm a mine manager from the Central Coast.
I'm an apprentice fitter from Lake Macquarie.
I'm an environmental scientist from Newcastle.
Diesel mechanic, Mudgee.
I'm a fitter from Gossu.
I'm in solar technology in Sydney. I work in VR in Surrey Hills.
And I fly planes all over New South Wales.
It takes a lot of people in a lot of different jobs to keep our minds working. Thousands of people in thousands of jobs right across New South Wales. Mining, good for jobs, good for New South Wales.
A warehouse supervisor from Campbelltown.
I'm an environmental scientist in St Leonards.
I'm an engineer from Parks.
I'm a Sparky from Cessnock.
I'm a lab technician from the Shire.
I'm a process chemist from Helston Park.
I'm an emergency response officer in Orange.
I do quality assurance in Castle Hill.
I'm a mine manager from the Central Coast.
I'm an apprentice fitter from Lake Macquarie.
I'm an environmental scientist from Newcastle.
Diesel mechanic, Mudgee.
I'm a fitter from Gossu.
I'm in solar technology in Sydney. I work in VR in Surrey Hills.
And I fly planes all over New South Wales.
It takes a lot of people in a lot of different jobs to keep our minds working.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the big experiment. Welcome to Prime 3.0. Please take your seats. Just a reminder again that the bar is open. Please enjoy your food, sit back and relax. We've also got people calling in from either school or the home office. So this is our first go at a bit of a hybrid delivery, and we're live streaming via YouTube. So everyone's a YouTuber this afternoon. Just really quickly, before we do a formal welcome, just to set the scene, we're going to roll or premiere a video demonstrating the student projects from the Prime program in 2021. When you're ready, Garth.
I'm a fitter from Gossu.
Hi, we're in Year 9 at Maitland High School, and our project is on sustainability and recycling. We have investigated the different ways that we can help existing mines to be more environmentally friendly and efficient in their practices.
In this project, I think I learned a lot about the careers involved in the mines. I heard of something I'd never heard of before, and maybe the background and how they get involved into those careers.
This kind of ingenious design will help us create a new and sustainable future for transport in mining for trucks. Road networks can also be improved to be less convoluted, straight and more to the point, helped even further by the prevalence of artificial intelligence in the truck mining system.
Even the tyres, you can see it's the opposite. The tyres are sinking in and it's pushing a wave of heavy soil in front of it, which would obviously be less fuel efficient.
The diagram I have created is a visual representation of material sorting strategy used in mines today. I have researched how mining companies recycle.
So we're Audrey and Annabelle, Year 9 ISM at St Mary's Catholic College Gateshead. We are presenting a report on the investigation we have done into our prime mining project and evaluation of coal cart efficiency.
So this is a synthetic diesel hybrid engine combined with electric motors. So the synthetic diesel actually is more effective fuel than normal diesel.
We had done research to back up, we had done a pros and con list, and we had gathered all the information together.
By communicating openly and clearly with audiences through these channels, and in this situation, communicate science and scientific processes, these concepts can be met, built upon, and supported to create positive social notions between mining companies and communities.
We, as Mossbrook High School students, have decided and been assigned the role of making a solution to create a more sustainable
and recycled mine.
Some of the things about the mining industry I find really fascinating, like the amount of money involved is quite extraordinary. And I really like how they have to rehabilitate the mines afterwards, and I think that really contributes towards their sustainability.
That's why the challenge is so good for us. We haven't done anything like this before and can build off it in the future.
So Bryce, did you find that interesting?
Indeed I did. I learned about safety, cost, efficiency and benefits of using autonomous trains to transport Hunter Valley coal.
That's fantastic. This is BTM signing off from Maitland Grosvenor High School.
There we go. So good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Rick Evans. I think I know most of you in the room. If I don't, welcome. So I'm lucky enough to be the manager of skilled workforce programs with Regional Development Australia, Hunter. We've also got our CEO and Director of Regional Development, Trev John here, committee member Paul Reynolds, and my colleague Kelly Stevanov, who's going to talk us through a bit of VR tech later down the track. So on behalf of Regional Development Australia Hunter and the New South Wales Minerals Council, I would first like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Wanneroo people, and to the lands from which each of our online guests are calling in from, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. So I'd also like to welcome the CEO of the New South Wales Minerals Council, Stephen Galilee, and Paul Reynolds, who I've already done, educators, industry, and our online guests with us tonight. So thanks for dialing in. So the focus of tonight is I'll bring up the agenda, is to provide our industry partners and the New South Wales Minerals Council members and educators an opportunity to chat together. I think you'll all agree that this is a much better forum than Microsoft Teams and Zoom, which we've all become accustomed to over the last couple of years. And just to give each of the educators in the industry an idea about what's actually happening in our partner schools, and a big thanks to our educators who are rolling this program out in the schools. So thanks to the Minerals Council, this program forms part of a suite of workforce development programs that Regional Development Australia Hunter offers, provides secondary high school students how they better appreciate how science, maths and geography apply across the life cycle of a mine, and types of skills and jobs required to support mining operations. Tonight, I'll be chairing and taking us through, but we've got some really exciting speakers and some industry guests who will share their story, and we're hoping, because we're getting all this recorded with their permission, that some of that will actually go back into the classrooms, and students will be able to hear some of the stories of your career and education pathways. We'll also have Kel, who will talk us through the virtual reality package and how we're rolling that out, and a bit of a Q&A. So please feel free, if you've got any questions, jot them down. They can be directed at us, at the New South Wales Minerals Council, or any of our industry people along tonight. So firstly, I'd like to welcome Stephen to say a few words on behalf of the New South Wales Minerals Council. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you very much, Rick, and it's great to be here again for the third year. Welcome to all of you, welcome to all of our guests, those that are going to be speaking to us today, our school and industry representatives, and for those of you that are joining us online as well. Welcome, and thank you to the board and the staff at RDA Hunter, particularly board member Paul Reynolds, who's here with us today. We're very excited about this initiative going into its third year. It probably wasn't the best timing to try and start an in-school education initiative when we did a few years ago, because as we all know, the last few years have been disrupted quite significantly, and those of you from the schools would know, and those of you with who are parents would know just how disrupted some of our attempts have been at education over the last few years. But we've persevered, and I think that's a testament to RDA Hunter in particular, and to the teachers and the staff and the industry representatives who've helped design, deploy and deliver the resources that are now available for this third year of the program. the schools that have participated in the program and that are going to participate in the program this year, we are very, very grateful. And we hope that the resources that we are providing to you are going to help you make a difference with your students. I've been doing this job now for 10 years, and I can tell you the most satisfying and best stuff that I've done over the past 10 years has been stuff like this. It's been initiatives like this. It's been the work we've done with the Clontarf Foundation, with young Aboriginal people. It's been the work we do with industry and with our partners to try and inform young people about the possibilities that they have for their lives, whether it be with our sector or other industry sectors. What we can do to encourage young people to look around and consider what might work best for them, and to provide them with the resources and the information that is going to help them make the best decisions possible for themselves, their families, and set them up. That to me is some of the most satisfying work that I've been involved in over the past 10 years in this role. And that is why we are so excited about this initiative, because as it has evolved and hopefully improved over time, it is going to help you achieve that, we hope. And you've seen from the short video the buy-in from students at some of these schools is terrific, and that is obviously due to the teaching commitment that you are bringing to those children, and it's a testament to you for that. Five schools in particular of the 20 or so that are participating this year have been in the program from the start. Alesco Senior College, Booladila Central School, Callaghan College Waratah Campus, San Clemente High School, and St Philip's Christian College Port Stephens. And it's been great to chat to some of the teachers at the table today so far, and hear about some of the experiences there. And hopefully we can see this year building some real momentum here in the Hunter for this initiative. It's really very pleasing for us as well that despite all the challenges of COVID, we are seeing positive signs of expansion of this program into other parts of the state. So we've got the Central West Leadership Academy from Dubbo coming into the program again this year, and for the first time Gunnedah High School, who are represented here today by their Deputy Principal, who's come all this way. I thought I'd come a long way from Sydney, but you've trumped me on that, so thank you so much for coming along today. It's terrific to see other parts of regional New South Wales being able to engage in this program, and that is what we have been trying to achieve over time. When we launched this program a few years ago as a pilot, we wanted to see how it would go here in the Hunter, partnered with RDA Hunter, and despite all the challenges, it's been successful, and that is driving interest beyond the Hunter, which is terrific. It's terrific for us. I mean, we want to make sure young people understand the opportunities that are available in our industry. There is a level of self-interest involved from a mining industry perspective. We compete with other industries for a skilled workforce. We compete with other industries for engineers. We compete with other industries for getting the right people into the right roles in our industry. But the skills that young people can learn in our industry are transferable to other sectors as well. They're transferable to other jobs as well. And so even if the students that participate in this program and get interested in mining and resources as an opportunity possibly for them, if they don't become one of the 40,000 people that work in the sector across the state eventually, they are learning skills, they are gaining knowledge which can potentially assist them going into other industries and other sectors as well. So while there is a level of self-interest from our sector in helping to deliver this program, it is designed to try and ensure that young people are broadening their horizons more generally too. A little plug for our sector while I'm here. I guess that's my job, to promote the sector, so I probably should spend a few minutes promoting our sector. As I said, there's 40,000 people roughly across the state working directly in the mining industry across New South Wales, predominantly, as you know, in regional New South Wales, in towns and communities like this and others across the state. And while historically people have often associated the New South Wales mining sector predominantly with the coal sector, and that we continue to have a very strong coal mining sector here, particularly here in the Hunter. Increasingly, we're seeing further opportunities for our sector in other commodities as well, in gold mining, in copper mining, in nickel, in zinc, in lead, in lithium, in scandium, in cobalt, and so many of the metals and minerals that are required to drive the technological change that we are seeing happening before us every day in fields of renewable energy, in fields of transport and technology, in the metals and minerals that are required to provide laptops, mobile phones, and many of the other pieces of technology that we use every day. The industry has a very bright future no matter what commodity is being mined, and there are many opportunities for expansion and for job opportunities for young people into the future, whether it is in the coal sector, in the metal sector, in the critical minerals sector. It is an essential and critical industry for the lifestyle that we have and for the future that we want. And so if this program is going to drive more interest, more awareness and more opportunity for young people, then we look forward to its ongoing success. Now, Prime, it integrates, sort of demonstrates how the STEM subjects apply across the life cycle of a mine and the types and skills and jobs that are required to support mining operations, from exploration all the way through to post-mining rehabilitation. And the mining-specific content and real-world problem solving is integrated into the classroom, and over 3 years we've evolved the program so it's highly adaptable to the particular needs and contexts of participating schools. And we've taken on board the industry and particularly the teacher feedback that we've received to make some improvements to the Prime program this year. And we'll hear more about that shortly. In particular, we're making sure through the program materials that students understand the importance of our industry's social licence to operate, of the environmental management aspects of what we have to do as an industry, of the community engagement aspects of what we have to do. We're not trying to sugarcoat the operations of our industry in any way. We want to provide people with a realistic understanding of what mining entails and what responsibilities it involves. As you've seen from the video, the students' project work last year was very impressive. 30 Prime projects were submitted for industry review and feedback, and we're looking forward very much to seeing more of these insightful contributions following the 2022 Prime program. Tonight, as we have in past launches, we'll hear from 3 young people who have forged a career in mining. We'll hear their first-hand accounts of the opportunities that they have been provided by the industry and how they have personally developed their careers so far, and we'll probably get a little bit of an idea of the bright future that those people have ahead of them. So I hope that those of you that are here today and those of you that are joining us online can take away from this launch how excited we are about this program, how keen we are to see it continue and expand further across the state over time, and how we want it to be used to support young people right across this region and other parts of the state as well. So I just conclude by once again just thanking all the teachers and industry partners that are here at this launch, because without you this program wouldn't be possible, and we are always keen to hear from you on how we could make it better. And we want to continue to deliver a program that's going to work for you as well. So Rick, that's all from me. I'll hand back to you, and once again, thanks you for coming to our launch today. Thank you.
Terrific. Thanks for your words, Stephen. I'd just like to also introduce the other stakeholders from in this partnership from New South Wales Minerals Council. So we've got Samantha Skinner, James Barban up the back, and Bob Mackey on the camera tonight. Thanks, Bob. So to provide a couple of words from Regional Development Australia Hunter, we have Paul Reynolds, who is one of our committee members, but is also the General Manager of Technology over at AMP Control and should be really enjoying our tech setup tonight. So thanks, Paul.
It's always a challenge trying to do live streaming. So thank you all. Thank you, Stephen. So RDA Hunter really appreciates the support provided New South Wales Mineral Council to our Prime program. So along with the support you provide to the regional schools as well as their students. RDA welcomes New South Wales Mineral Council's continuation of the partnership as we enter now our third year of the program. We are so pleased that the Minerals Council recognise the value of a successful industry skilling model that engages schools and industries to upskill Hunter's future workforce. So we're pleased to have an engagement project that now strongly links to the resource and mining sector, which, as we heard from Stephen, continues to play such an important role in the Hunter region as a driver for economic growth and a significant employer. It is important that we continue to work with our young students of the region, not only to provide them with the skills of equipping them with the skills needed by industry, but also to provide them with information so they can consider a future career in what is a dynamic and exciting career sector. We can't forget to also thank our Hunter schools and students who have embraced the Prime project, with 25 schools participating last year in what was really a challenging year for all of us, actually. And this year we have over 20 that have already signed up, and hopefully we can get a few more signed up this evening. So it's fantastic to see such a large number of schools recognising the importance of the resourcing and mining sector in our region and the long-term secure opportunities this provides students. So to our students, or to the teachers to pass on to their students, this is only the beginning of their journey. So in one that can be a fulfilling career and an exciting career in this industry sector. So thank you.
Thanks very much, Paul, and thank you, Stephen. Okay, so into a little bit of the content, and I'll keep this fairly brief because we do have some professional development sessions for the teachers coming up in the next couple of months, and also some of our industry guests will be invited to present at some of those sessions for industry context. So just to give everybody a bit of an idea about the third iteration of the program, as Stephen mentioned, we've definitely taken some learnings from you as educators. We've had lots of industry consultation thanks to Sam. And industry feedback, and we've tried to build on the program year on year. So we've come up with a pretty good model, we think, but we're looking forward to hearing your feedback as well as you roll it out in the school. So as Stephen mentioned, we do have 20 schools on board this year, and we've also broadened outside of the Hunter region, which is fantastic. So actually getting interest from other regions of New South Wales. We do have a few more spots available, so if you do have colleagues within the system that are interested in joining, it is a free program, and everything that Kelly and I go through tonight is completely free of charge, just requires a bit of in-kind investment from you as educators. Okay, so basically our prime objectives and what we've partnered with the Minerals Council to deliver is some mining specific lessons, resources and activities, and they vary, but they're essentially aimed at stage 5, which for those non-education people is year 9 and 10, but we have had schools deliver it to younger people, and that's completely fine as well. We're promoting student awareness of career pathways, we're promoting skill sets that are required by the mining sector to become evident to students. And as Stephen said, the STEM skills and capabilities, the competition is fierce amongst other industry sectors. So it's great that the Minerals Council are actually leaning in and promoting their industry and the varied industry that Stephen went through. The awareness of the mine life cycle, and not just coal, it's all those other precious minerals that we've mentioned earlier. The economic contribution of mining to New South Wales. We've had some business studies students and other students looking at legal studies that have been interested in the program and some of the scenarios that pop up with mining, which is terrific. Basically, looking at Year 9 and 10, we're hoping to inform subject choices in Year 11 and 12 so that students are taking on those probably more difficult science, tech, engineering and mathematics subjects, which ultimately get them to a mining specific engineering degree or mining specific course at university. And that was the prime, pardon the pun, prime objective is to focus on some of those university courses where the enrolments were starting to sort of fall off a little bit over the last couple of years. Just to give you a bit of a date range, so we started talking in 2019. 2020 was the first year, 2021 was the second year, and we're just at the commencement of 2022. So we're looking at 25 high schools. We've sort of, I guess, termed our contacts within the schools as our prime contacts. We'll have some industry engagement and using this broadcasting technology where we can have some different channels available. So we're looking at live streaming the presentation as well as the speaker. We may potentially be able to do some sort of live site visits where we're looking at some innovative ways of getting around some of the things that COVID has thrown at us the last couple of years, and providing some sort of case studies, promoting our schools and promoting our industry partners across the region. For the educators, so we're here, a little bit of a calendar for term 1 and term 2. So we're here at the 9th of February at the official launch. We then roll into a couple of professional development sessions so that we're providing you with the skills and capability to, myself and Sam are with you for the ride, so reach out at any stage if you need us. Term 2, we're looking for you to implement the program. Some schools have mentioned that they're pretty keen to get straight at it and are putting it into place in term 1. So we only request that you're onto the project stage by sort of the end of term 2, so that you can provide us with some of the great material that you saw in the videos there at the start. So the 22nd of June 2022, a lot of 2s in that number, but we're aiming to get those student projects in, and then we can present them to industry and put together a bit of a video compilation as well. Basically, that little map there is what the students will be learning, and all of the resources that have been collaboratively developed, including the teacher workbook, the student workbook, the presentations, the videos. Basically, they take students through the life cycle of the mine and some of those other subjects. I'm not sure if you can see some of those bubbles there, but topics from why mining, mining history, methods of mining, processing, rehabilitation, even renewable energy, and how that works in with the industry. So yeah, basically, once students have gone through their teaching and learning content, gone through bits and pieces of the program, we then build into the student projects, and we're looking at sort of cross-disciplinary. So if you can group your students together as you see fit, and we're going to challenge them with some industry projects. These include, so these have come direct from the mouth of some of our industry partners. We did a consultation session back in 2020. We've been refining some of the briefs, but we're looking at economies of scale, water as a finite resource, transportation and logistics, sustainability across the mine life cycle, and there'll be a full briefing document on those ones, and I guess some sample responses to give you a bit of an idea of what's expected of some of your students. We've had a really wide variety of responses, and some students have gone to some really innovative ways of presenting that material. I guess the original intent was to have a bit of a showcase evening, but we haven't been able to do that for obvious reasons over the last couple of years, so fingers crossed we might be able to get there this year. We did have a 5th topic for any of you that have joined us in previous years with social license to operate a mine. It's sort of, I guess, aimed at a bit of a high level. There's some really sort of complex ideas within that, but I think all of the industry members have given us really good feedback as to they want to see that integrated into the program. So we've basically incorporated that into each of the 4 projects, and you'll see how that is come about at the professional development sessions. So as teachers or educators, you'll get digitally and you'll get a handout tonight. So a student and teacher workbook, they basically look exactly the same, but the teacher workbook has sample answers to guide you along. A unit overview, curriculum links, so you can scope and sequence into your school system. Those 2 teacher PD sessions, which we think will be really useful, and if you have any ideas about what you'd like to see at that, we can build them into the agenda. And this year, what Kel's going to take us through is a bit of a VR roadshow. So thanks to the council, the Minerals Council, we have some technology, and we're aiming to take that on a bit of a roadshow this year. Just a bit of a guide as to some of the content that you'll see in those presentations and workbooks, linking down your right-hand side to the careers that are actually available. Also looking at local content, local industry examples, and also you'll get some really good history about where the mining industry started in not only New South Wales but the Hunter region specifically. Okay, I'd like to introduce my colleague Kelly Semenov, who's going to just take us through a quick run through these pretty cool headsets here and what we're aiming to do in term 2 of this year. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Rick. It's been really lovely to meet everyone today, and a shout out to those joining us on the live stream as well. We're really excited to be launching the Prime program, and a key feature of this is the use of virtual reality to enhance student engagement as well as just really complement the workbook content. And primarily it's used to explain or to give the students an understanding of the minerals which make up mobile phones as well as the life cycle of a coal mine. Also provides students with videos which covers career talks as well as site visits. So this year we've just purchased a new fleet of 28 of the Pico Neo 3 Pro headsets, which are also shown up there. And the key benefit of these is that there's no internet connection required and no Facebook account required as well, and they provide a really high-end experience for the students. So we will have some schools who participated last year who still have the Oculus VR headsets, and we're happy to help support you with the use of those as well. But this year we're going to offer the VR experience as a roadshow. So we'll be bringing Rick and myself the 28 headsets out to the classrooms as a 60 to 90 minute workshop. And we'll arrange a time, or the Prime lead teachers will arrange a time with us, but we're aiming for early term 2 or late term 1 if you're already running the program. So our guests, the reason for this delivery this year is because the whole class then can engage in the VR experience at the one time. It'll give Rick and I the chance to evaluate the new Pico headsets as well as the programs that we're using. Teachers won't have to manage the headsets this year, and if feedback on this approach is positive, well, then we can look at rolling out some additional workshops as well using the headsets. So on the USBs that the teachers received tonight, it contains VR program information and permission form for parents, as well as a student user agreement form and a risk assessment document as well. During our teacher professional development session on the 22nd of Feb, we've got 1 hour dedicated to the VR. So it'll give our teachers the chance to trial the headsets, as well as exploring the mineral awareness and coal awareness modules that are on them. We've also brought along, as you can see, a couple of headsets today if people want to have a turn of those. And we've got some disposable eye masks, and we've got some antibacterial wipes. So when we come out to schools, we'll bring out the disposable eye masks and the wipes for in between use. So in addition to the VR this year, we're also encouraging the use of some of University of New South Wales free augmented reality apps as well, which we'll introduce in more detail at the Teacher PD, but these can be used in the classroom or the home learning environment. And on the USB, we've provided some resource sheets, and they contain a QR link, a QR code, which will link to the apps, and they're available on iOS and Android devices. And these apps, similarly to the VR, they explore the minerals that make up a mobile phone and the processes for coal production as well. So just on the slide, we've got a screenshot on the far right is from the augmented reality app, just showing the cross-section of a mobile phone. And the screenshot just to the left of that is from the VR. And that one just shows that the students can visit different sites around Australia, and they also have the chance to drive the mining truck as well, which I thought was pretty cool. This slide here just shows an example of some of the workbook content which relates to the VR and AR experiences. So we've got the students have to produce a flowchart of the life cycle of a mine, and then on your right is also just linking different elements to different components of the mobile phone as well. So we'll send out further information later this week about that upcoming teacher professional development session for the 22nd of Feb, but we're really excited to let you know that it's going to be held at the Newcastle Mines Rescue Station at Argenton, and the teachers will also get a site tour there as well, thanks to Coal Services, so that's pretty cool. I think that's all pretty much. I just wanted to thank the teachers for allowing the students the chance to participate in the program, as well as New South Wales Mineral Council and our industry reps for making it such a valuable experience. We're really excited to launch and to deliver the Prime program this year and give students the opportunity to explore mining and the careers. So I'd just like to now hand over to Julia Nolan, who is Leader of Learning and Science Teacher from San Clemente High School in Mayfield. And Julia was one of our programs. She's going to share a little bit about the 2021 experience in the Prime program. So thanks, Julia. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly and Rick, for inviting me, and the Minerals Council for supporting the program. So, yes, okay. So we ran the Prime Mining program for the last 2 years. That's okay, thank you. And the first year was when we went into COVID suddenly at the end of term 1, and so I converted all the Prime mining workbook straight away onto OneNote, so I could deliver it to the kids over term 2, which was successful. I've got a couple of examples for you. In that case, obviously, when we came back and were sort of up and running by about week 7, we could do the pracs, which a lot of them do need to be done in a science lab, but I'm sure you can find somebody within the school to assist with that if that's not the area you're teaching it under. I taught it to and last year as well, with an iSTEM class, 22 students and girls and boys. And I think starting it was launching that idea was how relevant is it to the kids? So first of all, obviously, some of them have family or friends working in the mining industry, so some of those kids could share their knowledge with the others about what they knew of the mining industry. And also, you know, these days the kids are very savvy with climate change and being ethically aware of the industries and impacts. So it was great to be able to share and think about, okay, it is important here as we transition, and the impact of pulling mining coal straight out of the economy and out of our lives, full stop. And then also all the links with minerals for future industries, copper for the cars, the electric vehicles, and the smartphones and the laptops and everything else. So it was great to suddenly see that the kids could go, okay, this is linked and it's important and relevant to our future. So that was quite interesting to see how they actually could see those links and got interested. Last year we didn't have such a problem with COVID during that second term, so we could embed the pracs, and I've got some slides showing you some of the results, and that was really successful. The other area in STEM or D&T that it could be linked with is the EV bikes, because I think the kids, especially in iSTEM, they've chosen it as an elective. It's a real break from the theory of maths and other subjects, so they really want to get in and do stuff. So trying to break up the theory is great. The theory, I thought the delivery through the student workbook was really manageable chunks and very interesting, lots of visuals and links and short videos, so it wasn't hard to maintain their interest. When we came to do our presentation, last year especially, they all got on board. We were back at school, and we did have Minecraft for Education available on the computers, and a lot of them wanted to build mines with Minecraft and answer their problems that way, which I thought was quite fun and quite inventive. And I think there's so much of the future in gaming and modelling in computer design was really interesting to see what they came up with. And finally, I've got some examples of the industry feedback, which was really, you could see the time that was taken by the industry reps to give this feedback to the kids, and it was really impressive. Finally, yes, the kids, they had an idea. Obviously, one of the units towards the end is the careers in mining, so they got a real idea of the various areas, but they got a real appreciation of mining industry, and I think that was really valuable. So that was a couple of the prime experiments that where you sit a coal filter in water and watch it clean the water, and so you can set that up as with a variable with the coal filter and without the coal filter, and watch the difference over a week or two. Another one which was quite interesting is to capture some methane. It's all written out very clearly in the student workbooks. Burning a couple of varieties of coal samples. So we drew a table in our OneNotes. They weighed the coal. They saw how long it took to ignite and how long it burnt for, and any other colours which might be talking about the purity of the coal. So they really enjoyed that one. And the last one up in the corner was a little growing crystals on coal samples, and they could talk about how that would be possible and what was actually creating that. That's just an example of one of the first page. That's another prac actually, not in the workbook, but it comes from the Year 8 science syllabus, and it's where you extract a metal from the ore. And the kids really love it. There's lots of little clips that can embed the history of extracting metals from, the Copper Age right through, and then just using the ores with catalysts to extract on the end of a match head. So if anybody wants that, I'm happy to share it. This was an example of one of the kids' prime mining projects on Minecraft, an example of the feedback that is provided by the industry reps, which was really fantastic. So again, just an idea of how I just am presented on OneNote. Maybe this year I'll probably just deliver it the same way, as opposed to photocopying the book, and thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Julia before you race away?
You're welcome to later or email.
Thanks a lot, Julia. So yeah, one of the challenges for us as well is putting together some curriculum and content that meets the New South Wales criteria, and then we see it fly away to all these different schools, and it gets delivered in different ways. But that's really interesting. We get to see like a great diversity in project responses that come back to us and results within the classroom. So yeah, it's really exciting in a couple of different ways. So moving on to our industry perspective, I'd like to invite Jenny Park from Glencore, Renee Hurst from Bengala, and Matt Travis from Mac Energy to join us up the front. And just a reminder, folks, when you come up, if you just use the lectern and the front microphone. So yeah, one of the features or one of the great things about this program and the launch is getting industry people in front of educators and industry people in front of school students via virtual means or via the classroom. So I really appreciate your time coming out tonight. So hopefully the system works and I've got your presentations loaded up. So if I could first invite Jenny to come up, and Jenny, your presentation is ready to go with the clicker.
Thank you. G'day everyone, my name's Jenny and I'm currently a corporate process engineer for New South Wales at Glencore Coal. My whole professional working career post-university has been with Glencore, which I'm fortunate enough to say. So before joining Glencore, I was actually born and raised in Dee Why, Northern Beaches in Sydney. I moved to the Hunter Valley, specifically Singleton, after joining the Glencore graduate program after uni, and it was actually the first time I moved out of home. As a part of the Glencore graduate program, this led me to work in Mudgee for 2 years before then coming back to Newcastle in 2020 to join Glencore Corporate. So I've just got some fun facts to quickly break the ice. So one, I like baking, but I'm pretty average at it, so no fancy drip cakes. Two, I only tasted wine for the first time moving to the Hunter Valley, so I'm still on the quest to find my favourite wine. And three, I've just bought a house in Newcastle, so I'm still unpacking my life out of boxes. So when I was making this presentation, I came to the scary realisation that high school for me was 10 years ago. I graduated back in 2012, and I remember during this time I had no idea what I wanted to do as a career post-school. This meant that, when I was picking electives in year 10 and 12, I just decided, well, since I don't know what I want to do, I'll just pick the subjects I actually enjoyed. And this included mainly maths and chemistry. Still into year 12, I said, look, come with me to the careers fair at University of Sydney, have a look, see if it's something that you might be interested in. And lo and behold, this was sort of how I fell in love with chemical engineering, and then the idea of utilising both maths and chemistry, which were subjects I loved, and utilising them into making real life solutions. So as a part of my degree, we're actually required to do 12 weeks engineering vacation work. Mine was done in 2016, and I actually worked for a consulting firm. This was based in the heart of Sydney, and it was involved doing sort of energy balances and trying to save money for their utility use. This was all office work for me, so it was a lot more difficult for me to conceptualize everything in my head from an office without actually being at site. And this was what sort of motivated me to think about potentially work outside of Sydney and look at work that will have me based at site. And Google led me to find the Glencore graduate program. So this led me obviously to the Glencore grad program. So the biggest appeal for me with the Glencore grad program was it was a set program for 2 years and structured with multiple rotations that was focused on developing my processing and chemical engineering. It was also for a global mining and commodities company. Mining itself was something that I was completely new to. I didn't learn anything about coal during uni since it was mainly oil and gas focused. And obviously my vacation work, because it was on energy savings for the Parliament House, there was nothing coal focused on that as well. So the attraction for the Glencore grad program was they had structured, classes and workshops throughout the 2 years. This was called some, graduate master classes and so forth that focused on teaching us everything from the mine, how we take all the coal and material out of the pit to the wash plant where we process it, recover the coal because we want to remove all the rock, shale, clays, the things that aren't black and shiny, take it to our trains and sell it overseas. So I spent the first 12 months at Liddell. This is actually an open cut mine, and it was one of the newest plants in New South Wales for Glencore. And then the next 6 months after that was at Ulan Prep Plant, which is near Mudgee. This was actually a plant built in the 80s, so you can imagine how old the technology was. But it was washing some premium underground coal. So it gave me a lot of diversity in what I was exposed to with the types of quality that I could be exposed to with coal, as well as the pieces of equipment that I could deal with as well. And I was fortunate enough that at Ulan, this was where I first got my full-time role as a process and logistics coordinator, which I held for. Left was actually the first day of the grad program with the rest of my cohort. And then the pictures on the right was towards the end of my program where they actually paid for us and supported us to do a certificate for in leadership and management. So the photo on directly furthest on the right is with the director of Glencore handing me the certificate. Now, I think pictures speak louder than words here. So the one on the top right, that was actually from a visit to the mine. Now, we typically interact a lot with the geologists because we want to see everything that comes before it arrives to the plant before we process it. The things I look out for is anything black and shiny is good because we know that's coal. Anything that's not black, not shiny, could appear white in appearance is stuff that we wanted to reject. Now it looks, pretty innocent, but it ended up me looking like the next photo on the right, where I'm covered completely in mess and coal next to my manager. Fun fact, that photo is actually still in my manager's office. I was actually there this morning, back at Liddell. I've also included some photos of some pieces of equipment that we inspect daily. So the next two on the top row on the right, the first one's a cyclone, and then the photo with the green pieces of equipment is a spiral. Funnily enough, does look like a spiral blaster. That mainly processes finer coal less than 2 mil. Then the bottom on the left is what we call a dense medium cyclone. That processes coarse material. And then for me and the other process engineers, our work's mainly quite visual and feeling. The appearance and feel of everything's quite important to us. So that's a photo of some of the coal that we're making sure is bigger than 2 mil. And then the next two are screens where the left is our product. So it all looks black, so it's pretty good. And then on the right is everything that we're rejecting. So I'm making sure there's no coal lost there. This is from a pit visit during my graduate program. So on the left, we've got some diggers loading up some coal onto the truck to be sent to the plant. On the right, it's actually Liddell open cut, so it's approaching the end of its mine life, so you can see it's quite vast, almost empty looking as well. And then on the middle in the centre, that's our product stockpile, so we're inspecting our coal there. This is just outside of work. So these are everyone that I've met during my time in the company and the friends I've made. As you can see, still on the quest to find my favourite wine. So my current role, I pretty much oversee all the wash plants in New South Wales for Glencore. So the map on the right will show the assets that Glencore have in New South Wales. This will range from Uwland, that's in Mudgee, all the way back to the Lower Hunter Valley out here. A big focus for me is making sure we're recovering all the coal that we can, maximising throughput, so everything that we're pushing into the plant, minimising costs and making sure we're meeting our production rates. I oversee these 4 main pillars for each wash plant and assist the guys at site to make sure we're hitting those targets. So I'm fortunate enough that in my current role, there's a lot of mentoring and assistance for the up and coming engineers and graduates. I've also got photos on the bottom. So the first one on the left is actually at Manowan Prep Plant, which is in the Hunter Valley. That's actually a $30 million plant that we recently installed in 2021 and I helped commission. And I've also got Ravensworth Prep Plant, which had flotation commissioned in 2020. So these are obviously more recent photos, you can probably tell with the mask wearing. So on the left is the $30 million plant at Mount Owen, and next to it on the right with the blue is at Ravensworth. Funnily enough, all that money was spent just to have those bubbles on the right. $30 million are needed, and with chemicals to make sure we can generate those bubbles so that coal can be stuck to the bubbles and we can recover more material. And then on the top, you've just got some photos of me doing some inspections inside the plant when we were chasing some quality issues. So I just wanted to end on just 3 things that I wish that I knew 10 years ago when I was in high school. The first 2 points are sort of linked together. 1, keeping an open mind, and 2, not being afraid to get out of your comfort zone. So for me, I sort of never pictured myself ever leaving the comfort of Sydney and the comfort of home. So myself joining Glencore back in 2017 was myself moving out of the home for the first time. You know, I think if I never did that, I wouldn't be in the position where I am now, where I can, you know, mentor the up-and-coming engineers that are joining the program. And 3, speaking of mentors, the importance of mentors that I've had ever since joining Glencore. So when I joined Glencore, we were assigned mentors, and each site that I've been at, I've had a lot of mentors that have taught me the basics of coal processing, and then the leadership and management skills that I've needed and used throughout my life. So thank you for allowing me to talk and giving me this opportunity. And if you guys had any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jenny. Renee. So Renee Hurst is a chemical engineer from Bengalla. Thanks very much, Renee.
Thank you. Hey guys, so yeah, my name's Renee. I'm a process engineer out at Bengalla Mine. So Bengalla is a majority owned mine by Australian company New Hope Group. We're located about 10 kilometres outside of Muswellbrook, and we produce around 11 million tonnes per annum of saleable coal. So I'm the current process engineer out there. So what I do is very similar to what Jenny just ran you through. All of those pictures and equipment I work with every day. So process engineering. I like to answer the question of what a process engineer does. Jenny's already very much touched on it. Most people don't really understand or know what process engineering is. So if you were to ask my parents, they tell people I wash dirt, which really isn't too far from the truth. If you were to Google it, what process engineers do is design, implement, optimize, control and optimize industrial processes. So anywhere you find an industrial process, you'll probably find a process engineer, and I just do that in the mining space. So I like to think of my job as having 2 main parts. The first part being control and maintenance of our process. So day to day watching how our process runs, making sure it's running as best and as optimally as possible, troubleshooting when there's problems, things don't always run perfectly all the time. And the other part being to optimize and implement new systems. So Bengalla was first started washing in 1998. Technology's come a very long way in the last 20 years. So part of my role is to implement new technologies and ways of doing things in our wash plant to try and maximize yield, throughput, product quality, just any possible way that we can find to make that process run better. I get to work on and implement in our wash plant. So why I like my role is basically for the same reasons I enjoyed my HSC subjects, which were chemistry, math, physics. I enjoy experimenting and playing with things, and I basically get to do that every day in a big industrial wash plant. So how I ended up working in mining. So I graduated high school in 2014 out at Aberdeen. So despite the fact that I completed high school in a mining town, I didn't have a mining background. Originally from Sydney, my parents didn't work in mining. Naive 16-year-old me understood mining as just haul trucks and dirt. So I, was very new to mining when I got on my pathway. Like I said, really enjoyed chemistry and math, so that's what pushed me towards chemical engineering. So I went to uni for 5 years to study it. Once I finished that, I took up the graduate process engineering role at Bengalla, where I've been ever since. And I guess I like my role too because there are just so many opportunities in mining, which is, I think, the main story here. And not just opportunities career-wise, but even within your own organisations. I currently get to do a lot of work in business improvement. I'm the business improvement owner for the CHP and logistics areas on site, so your opportunities are endless even once you're in mining. So how I ended up in this path, so like I said, not a mining background. I really didn't know what I wanted to do going into stage 6. I wasn't set on a mining background, if anything, teenage me wanted to leave Muswellbrook and my parents behind. But what got me on my pathway was scholarships. So I had a few opportunities presented to me in my late years of high school, one of them being the New South Wales Mining Scholarship. So that was popped up. I heard about it on the radio, thought I'd go along and see what it was about, and that was my first real introduction to mining, actually. So I got to get up close to a haul truck, have a look, and that was really beneficial experience for me, go to some networking events, and I started to see that there was a lot more to mining than just the trucks and the dirt. By the end of Year 12, I still wasn't 100% set on mining, but what really got me there was the Bengala Engineering Scholarship. So having a chat to one of my teachers, I was telling her about what I wanted to do, and she suggested I go for it. I must admit I ummed and ahed a little bit for a while, wasn't too set on the idea of mining, didn't really understand why a mine site would even want a chemical engineer. But my parents basically said, well, a scholarship like that is the opportunity to answer those questions. So that scholarship actually gave me 3 to 4 months paid vacation work every year. So that gave me the opportunity to go to site every year, put my degree to use and answer the question of what does chemical engineering mean for a mine site. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. I was absolutely shocked my first summer getting out there. I got completely dirty, covered in coal and God knows what. And yeah, it was the best decision I ever made. So I guess my learnings out of that pathway was to explore all the opportunities. I nearly turned down such an amazing experience just because I ummed and ahed and maybe'd that I don't know if I want to go into coal. And I'm so glad that I did. And so many people do that sometimes, is turn things down because they're not sure. I think scholarships and vacation work and all of those sorts of opportunities are the way you answer that question. And the other thing I would go back and say to myself is look outside the box for opportunities. Both of those opportunities came to me in kind of unusual ways, just through talking to people who knew about things that were going on. So quite often students I've found get stuck looking for opportunities through, say, university portals and schools and all that sort of stuff. But a lot of industry programs are not advertised in those usual ways. So I would always suggest to kids to go out and look elsewhere for opportunities because you just don't know where you'll find them. And I guess there's a lot more to mining than just the mine. So young me, like I said, thought it was just haul trucks and dirt. There is a whole other side to mining that I didn't realise existed at the time and is such a crucial part to the mining process. Obviously the mine's very important as well, and that extends beyond even process engineering. It takes so many departments, HR, logistics, finance to make a mine site run, that if you're looking for an opportunity, there's a really good chance that mining could offer you a career pathway. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Renee, and thanks, Jenny. Some really terrific career insights there from Renee and Jenny. And last but not least, we've got Matt from Mac Energy. He's a maintenance and reliability engineer. So thanks a lot, Matt.
As Rick said, my name is Matt Travis. I work for Mac Energy as a maintenance and reliability engineer in Muswellbrook. We obviously pretty big mine next to Bengala actually. So I've been there for 2 years, just over 2 years now. I'm here to chat to you about how I got where I am now, mainly from a trade background, so not out of school straight into uni, and hopefully can help some people do similar to what I have. So a little bit about me. So I'm from Cardiff South in Lake Macquarie. I've had no idea what to do for work. I had a part-time job at Coles at Warners Bay, just to pay the bills for mum and dad. I didn't seek out any career paths really. It was mainly offered to me as a trial through school, which I was very thankful for. My original plan was to be in the building game like Dad, but I was quickly told I wouldn't be allowed back in the house if I was a bricklayer, so that went out the door. So My education. So I attended Cardiff South Primary, went to Cardiff High School. I enjoyed high school social side, as I'm sure most kids do. Loved woodwork, metalwork. Most of those classes were hands-on, and I loved the hands-on part of those classes. The only class I did struggle with was maths, as I'm sure I'm not the only one. I had a maths tutor from the years 8 to years 8 and 9, which helped me get through my final exams, which was good. I attended Glendale TAFE for my apprenticeship, so I learnt the ins and outs of the trade. Then most recently, I've started continuing on my TAFE online, which was really good, doing my Cert 4 in Leadership and Management. And I'm currently enrolled in my Diploma of Engineering and doing some pretty scary maths equations that I never thought I'd ever do in my life. But yeah, I think it's very, very good to push yourself further, even after school. Being in a work environment allows you to apply those things you never understood, and it really helps to stick when you do it day in and day out. So I began in manufacturing, so not just mine directly, supplying a mine with grinding media. So towards the end of the year 10, my dad was actually asked by a close family friend if I'd be interested in doing a 2-week trial as a fitter, machinist, at a small company called Donhad in Mayfield West. As nervous as I was, so I said yes. The company was as I said, manufacturer of grinding media, which is a high carbon steel ball that mines use to break down the rock and the ore into a more manageable size. After the 2-week trial, I was offered the apprenticeship with Donhad. During the 4 years of my apprenticeship, I was able to learn the trade, gain the skills of machining, repairing machinery, maintenance of all kinds, and how to think on my feet when it comes to breakdowns and quick situations. Quickly after completing the trade, I was promoted to a leading hand, which allowed me to gain insight into more of the supervision of people and leading a team. This role was a pretty big stepping stone into moving into a maintenance planning role that I took shortly after. The responsibilities for that role were ordering parts, ensuring maintenance and production teams were running at maximum output, and planning tasks, updating work orders, implementing strategies for continuous improvement, and many other day-to-day things. After maintenance planning, I stepped into maintenance foreman role to gain more in depth of the supervision of people, which allowed me to do more of the day-to-day supervision, decision making, lead continuous improvement, be a mentor for safety and maintenance in the workplace. In 2018, my small company, which I'd been there for a long time, was procured by our number one competitor, Molycop. I was successful in obtaining a role with them through in Waratah, again as a maintenance leading hand. The role was similar but had its different obstacles, including unfamiliar people, machinery. After working for a company for nearly 10 years, it's a bit of a change. So I was a little nervous, but that's what drove me to learn and use my previous skills to basically think on my feet. So the dot points up there for manufacturing for me was to work hard, learn as much as possible, take on any training offered to you, whether it's through TAFE or through the company itself. Don't pass up being shown how to do something. You may think you know something, but there's someone that knows it, that probably knows it better, and you can learn from that as well. Make mates along the way. I know it's a big thing for me. I've got a lot of close mates from work, not just out of school. So, and put in some extra time. It's worth it. So, on to mining. So at the end of 2019, I was successful in moving into mining with Mac. Again, being extremely nervous during my interview, I remembered that what I'd learned was to be confident and honest, expressing the knowledge I'd gained over the years. In my current role, I gather and analyse breakdown data to use for reporting, develop capital expenditures. I'm involved in the higher level maintenance now, breakdown reporting for the CHPP, assisting the maintenance team when needed. I also review and give my feedback on new machinery designs regarding maintenance and access. So for the guys that actually run the machines afterwards, I get the say in basically how it's designed straight up, so the guys have a bit more of an easier time. Oversee maintenance, the budget for maintenance in the CHPP for MAC, and I keep a good relationship between our contractors and MAC itself. So the key points in mining for me is to try new things. Nerves mean you're doing something worthwhile. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Use your strengths and learn from your mistakes. On to the future. As for the future, who knows really for me. I've been thinking of university once I finished my diploma, so that's a pretty big point for me is you don't need to go to university straight out of school if you don't really feel like it. You can definitely look down that path further down the track. So I've always strived to be a maintenance superintendent. So I think everything I've done has basically been for that direction. But I'm sure once I have that position, I'll probably try for further. Conclusion. So, my two main points in my whole career, really. The first is never pass up a chance of someone offering help for you to learn anything new, including extra studies, training, trying something new. The people that give you a chance are obviously confident and believe that you'll succeed. So it's worthwhile to never pass it up. And lastly, use the nerves. Everything I've ever done, including this speech, is hours of nerves beforehand. And I think it's good once you complete something. It's a really good feeling after you've gotten through those nerves. I think if you haven't got nerves before doing something, it's not really worth doing. So it kind of means you don't care about the outcome. So use the nerves and get through it, and it works out really well. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Matt. So we now have a couple of quick minutes. If anybody has any questions for our panelists, I've got Kelly with a roving microphone. Panelists, if you want to answer a question, please jump back up to the microphone.
Should I just ask another question? Yeah. Oh, I'll just yell at him. Did you go straight from year 10 into TAFE for the apprenticeship?
Yes. Yeah.
Anyone else, Julia? Yeah, 100%. So the question was, can these videos be used in the classroom? And I believe I've got the consent of all three. Yeah, so definitely with the help of Garth, we'll actually try and sort of chop that up and make it available to you in the schools. Any other questions, folks? So thanks, Jenny, Renee, and Matt. You're off the hook for further questions. Thanks for being terrific speakers. You might have found yourself a nice little side hustle. Also a shameless plug for New South Wales Mining Careers Dinner, which is on the 10th of May up at Singleton this year. I went to the one last year down at Nex in Newcastle. It was terrific. So you might get another invitation there based on that. Thanks very much, folks. Also, if you don't mind just hanging around at the end, if there's any sort of informal questions, that'd be terrific. So next steps for us. So the school's introduction, we saw the map up there before of all our schools. If you do have any colleagues that would be interested, very happy to have a conversation between Sam, Kel, and myself. Feel free to hang around. We do have the bar open. Matt hasn't been very busy, so grab a beer, wine, or soft drink and have a quick chat. 22nd of February for the educators will be our first teacher PD session. We're also quite interested in gaining some surveys both from yourself as teachers and also some of your students. So there's a talent release form and a form that we'd hope that your participating students would be able to sign and also get some parental admission for that as well. And that's us for the formalities. I really thank you for coming out tonight, and also our guests online. Thanks for being part of Prime TV. I'm sure there's no copyright issues there. Look forward to having a chat with you. We also have our VR tech. If anyone would like a quick demonstration, please come and see Keller O. Thanks very much.